Welcome back to how to create an e-commerce website. We've looked at three main modules so far. We looked at branding your website, how to install the key functions of the website, and customizing most of those functions. But today we're going to be looking at optimizing the website. You really want a website that's going to load fast. Let's look specifically on what we're going to cover. Firstly, we're going to look at installing an SSL certificate. How do we optimize our images? What about a security plugin? You really want to ensure that you back up your website. You never know what could happen. And what about caching and CDN? We'll go into all that. My name is Joshua and I'm here to help you build your next e-commerce website. So let's get started. Here we are in the back end of our website. You'll notice at the top of the website, there's usually a padlock here indicating that your website is secure. Right now it's clearly saying not secure. If we go to the front end and visit the site, if you're on an e-commerce website and you're seeing this not secured, you're already feeling uncomfortable. So you don't want to have your website without your SSL security installed. How can you do that? I'm going to show you two ways we could accomplish that. Firstly, let's look at how you could do this if you're using Bluehost. If you go to Bluehost and you come to My Sites and then the Security tab, you'll see the option that says Security Certificate. Here we have a free SSL certificate that comes with Bluehost. It's quite simple. All we'd have to do is turn on this check mark. Once it's activated, it will most likely kick me out of the website and I'll need to log back in. So let's log in and see the difference. So we're back at the front end. Let's refresh the page and notice the difference. Now this looks much better. So here we are, we have the padlock now displaying that our site is secured. And this is telling us that we now have an encrypted website. So if you have credit card transactions, any communication taking place on the site, it's going to be encrypted. It is now going to be a secured transaction. Another web host that I would recommend is Cloudways. Cloudways is more expensive than Bluehost, but if you have a serious website where you're going to have a lot of traffic, it's definitely worth the investment. I would recommend the Vulture package on a high frequency server, and you could start out at this $13 a month package. Let's look at how do you activate SSL security with your Cloudways application. Log into your Cloudways, come to the application section for the one that you're working with. I simply created a fresh installation of my website, and if you come to the SSL certificate section, you can choose the free Let's Encrypt version, or you could get a custom SSL. But in this case, we're going to use the free SSL. You would just enter your email, enter the domain name. You could also apply a wildcard that will be applicable to all versions of the website, such as if you have a subdomain, it will also apply to that, and then install the certificate. Let's go back to our Bluehost instance and continue optimizing our website. The next thing we want to look at is how do you optimize your images. The size of your image is going to determine in many cases how fast your website loads. It's important for us to ensure we have our images optimized to the smallest possible size without losing quality. There's two recommendations I have here for you. The first one is using this very useful website, tinypng.com. This is excellent for compressing your images before you upload it to your website. So I have a new mug image that I would like to add to one of my product page. Let's optimize that image. I can click here to select the image. I'll drag the image into the window and there you go. Notice before the optimization, the size of this image was 273 kilobytes. After optimization, it's 61 kilobytes. That's over 78% optimization. So I'll click here to download the image. Let's return to our website to upload the image. So we'll go to media, we'll select add new and select the image. So here it is, our image is now uploaded. However, there is one other optimization that would really help you, especially if you've already added additional images and you want to optimize those that is already on the website or all future images that you may add. Let's go to plugins and we'll choose add new and let's search for Imagify. This is the one that we want to install. It has over 300,000 active installations. Let's click install now and then activate. It has a very easy 3-step process. We'll just need to sign up for a free account. Then we'll need to insert our API key and configure it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'll enter my email address and I'll choose sign up. So we have this congratulations. We get this congratulations notice. We'll just go to our email and get the API key. I'll click OK. Then I'll choose I have my API key. You'll get your API key, paste it into this window and click connect me. That was successful. Let's just click OK, and then we can go to settings. Here's where we could make our configuration. We could leave it with the default. Aggressive will work just fine. It will optimize our images on upload. We want to back up original images. We'll leave that unchecked. As we scroll down, here we have our typical optimization settings. Again, we'll use the default settings as is, but as we scroll down to the bottom, here we'll choose the save and go to bulk optimizer, where we could go and optimize all the existing images already uploaded to the server. So here we could choose the folder that we want to optimize, and it already has the media library selected, and we'll just Imagify them all. Let's just click on the button. And let's click start the optimization. Notice if you have images greater than 2 meg, you will need a paid version to optimize though. However, it's not a good practice for you to have images this large anyway. You really want to try to keep your images below 200 kilobytes at best, probably, or even better, around 100 kilobytes. So it's completed. We've optimized 60 media files and we've used about 4 or 5 meg out of the 25 meg that we get with the free plan. So 98% of the images on the website has been optimized. There was one error. However, if you're going to be using more than 25 meg worth of images, then you may want to upgrade to the paid plan. I currently use the paid plan, and as you would notice, the first paid plan, which is the light plan, is $4.99, and that would give you up to 1 gig worth of or 10,000 images per month. You could also subdivide this and share it across different websites. Let's move on and look at the other optimizations, which includes security. There is 2 security recommendations I would make. One is a free plan and the second is a paid plan. The first one is Wordfence. Wordfence is one of the best free WordPress security. It's one of the best free firewall you could get in a plugin. Let's look at how we could install it. Let's choose plugins, choose add new, and let's type security. Here is a list of some of the top security plugins. You'll notice Wordfence is the most popular with over 3 million active installations. It offers a lot of the features within its free plugin. Let's click install now and activate. We'll need to enter an email address. So enter your email. We'll choose no for the mailing list. Check the terms and condition checkbox and click continue. We're not going to be upgrading to the premium version, so we'll say no thanks. And let's go to the Wordfence settings. So let's choose Wordfence and dashboard. You can follow the little tutorial that will just walk you through the different areas of the dashboard. And after you've done so, let's scroll up to the top and we will enable the auto update. And let's go through the basic configuration. So we'll click here to configure. It should detect your server configuration and recommend the best version. You could then download the HT access file in the event something goes wrong. I've had no issue with this, but you could never be too safe, and click continue. Let's click close. So we have the basic settings now set up. Let's come down and go to all options. One of the things I would normally update is the email alert preferences. At times you could get quite a bit of email alerts. So if you scroll down, I will change this from alert me when someone with administrator access signs in and simply choose only alert me when the administrator signs in from a new device. I would also change the alert me from low to like medium, and then I'll just save the changes. There's one additional settings I would recommend, and we could go to login security. You could follow the short step-by-step tutorial, and here's where we could turn on two-factor authentication. So if we go to two-factor authentication, with two-factor authentication, you would use your phone or a tablet to offer an extra layer of security to log in. One of the software I would recommend to use is the Google Authenticator. So using the Google Authenticator, you would come to this window, scan the code, and it will give you a specific number for you to enter here to activate. I would recommend you download these recovery code in the event you lose your phone or something like that. Even if you lose your phone, there's other ways for you to get access to your website. Here is the free option. Let's look at the paid option I would recommend. This is one of the best WordPress security plugin, and it offers instant malware removal. If you go to the Malcare dashboard, it offers you features like remote website maintenance, where you could remotely update your plugins. You would also be able to do backup. You will see your security at a glance in terms of if your sites are clean. It will show you your uptime monitoring as well, firewall settings, staging option, and even some of your performance. Let's move on to the next optimization I would recommend, and that is a backup plugin for your website. The plugin I would recommend is Updraft. Updraft offers both a free version and a premium version. Let's look at installing the free version first. We'll come to Plugins, Add New. Let's come in the keyword search and type Backup. We can see that Updraft is one of the most popular backup plugins with over 3 million active installations. Let's click Install Now and Activate. Let's press here to start. So the free version allows you to back up your website. You would need to have the premium version for incremental backup. Let's go to Settings. Here is where we could set the schedule of our backup. So for example, we may decide we want to do a backup daily, and we will choose how much backups to retain. We could also decide how often we would like to back up our database. So for example, we might say, okay, we'll back up our database weekly, depending on how much activity we have on our website. We could then choose a remote storage location to back up our website. Several of these comes with a free version. For example, Dropbox is available with a free version. Now I use OneDrive for my backup, so I use the premium version, and I'll show you how to do that after. As you come down, you will select what you want to include in the backups. You could also check this option to get a basic notification sent to your admin email and then save the changes. However, I'm going to install the premium version to show you how we could use Updraft to migrate our website to another domain. So I'm going to go to Plugins. I'm going to deactivate the free version, and I'm going to add the premium version. I'll choose Upload Plugin. I'll drag the plugin file and install. It's noticing the free version installed, but we're just going to replace with this upload, and we'll activate the plugin. So we could then go to Updraft, and let's go to Settings. Let's select Updraftplus from the top, and let's choose Updraftplus Premium. Let's select Updraftplus from the top, and let's choose Extensions. We will enter our email and password for our account. We'll select the option to ask WordPress to update Updraft automatically, and we'll click Connect. So that was successful. Now we'll choose to activate all the add-ons by clicking Activate It on this side. And we can just choose OK to the top of the screen. Okay, we can now go to Backup. So let's go to Settings, and we can choose our settings now. Let's come to File Backup Schedule, and let's say we want to do a backup daily. We could choose the specific time that we would like to do the backup, as well as we could choose how much backups we would like to do or retain. So let's choose 7. We could also have an incremental backup if we choose, but we'll leave it at none. Let's change the database backup schedule to weekly, and we will retain 7 copies as well. I'm going to select OneDrive as my remote backup location, and it will ask you for your account details once you click Save to the bottom. You could enter a name for the folder, so I'm just going to give it the name. Scroll down, select the items you would want to back up. You also have the option of backing up WordPress core, but I'll leave that unchecked, and I'll come down to the bottom, and I'm just going to choose Save Changes. It will now ask me to authorize my OneDrive account. So I'll click here, follow the instructions, and authorize my account. So that was authorized. We can now do a complete backup. Let's click Backup now. Select the items we would want to back up. Choose the settings for our backup. Since this is our first backup, I'm going to select the option to only allow this backup to be deleted manually. We could give it a label, but I'll leave it blank, and I'll choose Backup now. The backup was completed, and we can see a little padlock here next to this backup letting you know you could only delete this backup manually. One of the features that Updraftplus Premium offers is the option to migrate to a new location. In this case, we're going to look at an example of migrating this website that we've been working on to an instance of WordPress on Cloudways that I have just created. To do that, we're going to install Updraft on this side by choosing Plugin, Add New. We'll choose Upload Plugin, choose the file, and Install Now. I'll activate, and I'll press here to get started. I'm going to select Premium Extensions, enter your account information, and choose Connect. I'll do that now. I'll do the same by activating all add-ons by choosing Activate on this site and click OK. Now let's go to Migrate and Clone. And we'll choose the option that says Receive a backup from a remote site. We'll then choose Create Key, click OK to the top, and we'll then copy the key that we notice below. Then let's go back to our main website. We'll come to Migrate, Clone, and then we'll choose Send a backup to another site. Let's choose Add a site, and now we have the site key here. We could just paste it here and click Add Site. To the top, we'll just click OK to confirm. Then we can choose Send. Let's scroll down and choose Send. While this is sending, do note that Cloudways offers its own migrator tool. I'm just showing you this demonstration in the event you're using another platform that don't include a migrator tool. But if you would have used Cloudways, you could have gone to Cloudways, and in the application section, you could have chosen the migration tools and download the Cloudways migration tool, install it on the application, and you could have followed a similar process. With a premium version of Updraft, you have basically the same feature. Let's continue. So the backup is now finished. So as it's telling us here, we now need to go to the remote site that we just sent that backup to. So let's go to that instance on Cloudways, and we can now come to Backup and Restore, and we'll see that backup now on our remote site. We can check the option and now choose Restore. Let's choose the components we want to restore. So we're going to choose Plugins, Themes, Upload, and Database. And let's click Next. It provides a warning, so you just want to make sure you reviewed it and you're confirming. Let's choose Restore. So it's telling us that the restore was successful. We can now click to return to Updraft. Now it will kick us out of the website, so we'll need to use the same login information as your original website. So I'm going to log in again. So we've now logged back into our website. We could go and view it and just make sure everything looks fine. So we could just choose Fashion Deals and we're just going to visit the site. So far it looks good. Everything looks like it is restored. So the last thing we want to look at is how do we optimize our website using caching and CDN. And depending on your host, this could be done in several ways. Some of your hosts may already come with a caching plugin built in, and in some cases you may need to install your own. I'm going to give you two recommendations depending on your host. But before I do so, let's do a speed test to see what is the performance of our website currently. So here is the result from PageSpeed Insight. It's showing that the site is, the desktop rating is 61, and it's showing that its time to interact is 2.9 seconds. The mobile definitely needs some improvement. If I go to JT Metrics, on JT Metrics it's saying that it's taking 7.5 seconds to load. On Pingdom it's taking 6.63 seconds. Now all three of those tests was done from the original domain hosted on Bluehost. Let's look at how the exact website is loading on Cloudways. So I'm going to go back to the Cloudways instance, copy the URL, and we're going to paste it here. And let's analyze the page. While that loads, I'm going to do the same thing on GT Metrics. I'll choose Compare, put in the new URL, and choose Compare. Then I'll go to Pingdom, copy the URL, and just paste it here. Let's go back to PageSpeed Insights. So in this case, we're noticing that this one is loading in 9.6 seconds. And how does that compare? We're seeing here it's 10.6 seconds. So it's loading at least 1 second faster. Let's check on JT Metrics. So again, we could really see a vast difference in the performance of the same website, which is loading in 7.5 seconds, while this one is loading in 3 seconds. And let's compare it in Pingdom. So we're saying the Cloudways instance of the exact same website is loading in 2 seconds with an 83%. In comparison to the instance on Bluehost, it's 6.6 and 78%. So you could definitely see a difference of just being on a higher performance domain, and this is without any form of optimization. Let's look at the recommendation to optimize your website with a caching plugin. The plugin I would recommend is WP Rocket. If we go to pricing, So we'll see for one website, it starts at $49 and you could go up to 3 websites for $99. But you could start with this one. But let's look at how we could install WP Rocket and optimize our website. We will start with the Bluehost instance. So let's choose plugins, add new, and let's choose upload plug. And let's select our WP Rocket. Let's choose file and upload the WP Rocket plugin. This would mean you've already purchased the plugin and downloaded from its website. And we can now choose install now. For each of these recommended plugin, I would leave a link in the description that you could access them. And choose activate plugin. So we're already seeing a warning here. It's telling us that we need to set our permalink structure. So we could click to go to permalink settings and we could choose post name. And I'll scroll down and choose save changes. We could either come to settings and choose WP Rocket, or to the top of your page you could go to WP Rocket and we can choose settings. So the first thing you'll notice is that it's recognizing that the default caching is enabled. So it's recommended that this is disabled. It's never a good thing to be using more than one cache plugin on the same website. So we could go to settings and general and turn this off. So I'll change the cache level from normal to off and choose save changes. So let's go back to WP Rocket, choose settings. We can close this for now. We'll notice that WP Rocket do have a CDN plugin, but I'll be making another recommendation. So I'll close this for now. I'm also going to close this, or I'll say no thank you. So WP Rocket has already activated some of the most common performance practices. So let's go compare the speed of the website before and after activating the caching plugin with WP Rocket. So this is the speed test before activation. This is on page speed insight. So we could see it's loading with 3.2 seconds, and after the activation it's loading in 3 seconds. So just a slight increase, but let's check it on GT metrics. So we're seeing that before the activation is loading in 7.5 seconds, and let's look at what it is after. So we could see a lot of the requests have gone down. The page is much smaller, but the load speed is still about the same. Let's check it on Pingdom. So before it was loading at 6.6 seconds, and after it's loading in 4.21 seconds. So it may vary depending on the site you're using for test, but you could definitely see an improvement even on a shared domain, especially if you're now starting out on a web host like Bluehost. Let's see how we could customize this even further for better performance. So let's go to file optimization and we'll choose Minify CSS files. You'd have to be mindful as you activate this. What you'd want to do is you'd want to activate it, go to the front end of your website, scroll down, save the changes, then come to WP Rocket, clear the cache, come to the front end of your website, refresh it, and just check to make sure everything is loading properly. And if it's looking good, then we could go back and continue optimizing. We'll come back to file optimization and we'll look at combining CSS files. Do the same thing, update it. You'd follow the same step, check the front end, refresh it, make sure it's loading properly, and you will continue. I will do the same thing for optimize CSS delivery. I'm going to remove jQuery migrate, minify the JavaScript files. Again, this is something that you'd have to be mindful of. It can break your site. So again, activate it, check to see if you see any difference before proceeding. And then I'm going to combine JavaScript files. Same thing again, make sure you check the front end of the site, ensure nothing is actually looking odd before saving the site. Very important, back up your website before making any of these type of changes, just to make sure if something goes wrong, you could just recover. And finally, I'm going to load JavaScript deferred. So scroll down, save the changes, refresh the front end, clear the cache, save the changes, clear my cache, and then check the front end. Let's go to media and we're going to enable lazy load for images. I don't have any video included, so I'm going to leave that unchecked, as well as I'm using Imagify for converting these WP compatibility. So I'm going to leave that unchecked as well and choose save changes. Okay, now let's go to preload. This setting, which is enable link preloading, is going to improve the perceived loading time. What this does is analyze as the customers are using the page, and as it estimates that they're going to go to choose a particular link, it will preload that link. So let's enable it, scroll down, and we'll choose save changes. Let's clear the cache and then let's check the performance. Now let's go check the speed. So this was the original speed at 3.2 seconds. It went down to 3 seconds. Let's see what it is now. So we could see it's come down all the way to 1.5 seconds now on desktop. If we look on mobile, it is at 6.6 seconds in comparison to about 10 seconds before. Now let's look at it on GTmetrix. So it was 7.5 before. Let's see what it is now. Let's choose retest. So the speed is still about 7.4. However, we've definitely seen a reduction in the page size and even the performance score. But most importantly, we really want to try and get the speed down. Let's check on Pingdom. What's the performance like? So before, the speed was 6.63. And we can now see it's loading in 3.49 seconds. So definitely some improvement. Let me show you what will be my recommendation if you're using Cloudways and the caching plugin that comes with Cloudways. So we'll go to plugins, add new, and you will come to search and we will look for Breeze. And we're choosing this one here, Breeze WordPress Cache plugin. We'll click install and then activate. We can then go to settings and choose Breeze. All the settings are pre-configured. One of the things you would want to do is once we are installing a CDN, we will come to the CDN section and install our details. But now that this is already being activated, let us go and check. So most of the common settings are already pre-configured, but here we could set the minification for CSS, JavaScript. We could also choose include inline JavaScript and include inline CSS. Save our changes. Purge all cache, and then let's check the front end to make sure everything is looking okay. Okay, everything seems to be loading just fine. Now let's go check the performance of the website. So before it was loading in 9.6 seconds, and that's on mobile. Let's check that now. Alright, we see the site is now loading in 6 seconds on mobile, and on desktop it's less than 2 seconds. Let's check that on GTmetrix. So this was the original comparison between the site without optimization on Bluehost, and this was the site without any optimization on GTmetrix on Cloudways, that is. Okay, so this was the original comparison. This was the site before it was optimized on Bluehost, and this was the site before it was optimized on Cloudways. Let's look now after it's been optimized with the Breeze Cache plugin. We'll notice now that it is loading in 2.6 seconds and the file size is 1.19 in comparison to about 3 to 4.5 seconds, and the size was about 1.2, so it's even come down further. Lastly, let's look at how it looks on Pingdom. Here is a website that is now loaded with optimization with Breeze on Cloudways, which is close to 1 second. The last thing we're going to look at is how do we add a CDN or a content network distribution to our website. The CDN I'm going to recommend is BunnyCDN. BunnyCDN is a very reliable and powerful CDN. It also has some flexible pricing. So if we come to the pricing page, you'll notice with over 100 gig of traffic coming out of the North America, we're only spending about $1 with a standard tier. Let's look at how we could activate BunnyCDN for our website. So log in with your credentials. You will come to pull zones on the left and you will choose add pull zone. You'll give your pull zone a name and then you'll enter the URL on this side. You could then choose between the standard tier, which then allows you to select the different regions, or you could use the high volume tier, which is basically a standard flat rate. I'm going to use the standard tier and I'm going to choose add pull zone. I'm going to go back to pull zones. I'll select my pull zone and I'm going to copy my host name either from above here or below. And let's go back to our website. And I'm going to come to WP Rocket settings. I'll scroll down and we'll choose CDN. We'll choose enable content delivery network. And here we will specify our CDN name below CNAME. You notice it has the example there. We'll paste it. So we'll need to come in front of it and add the https://. So it needs to be the full address of our CDN here. And we'll scroll down and choose save changes. Let's clear our cache. For us to test this to ensure that it's actually loading properly, we could open an incognito or private browsing window and go and check the developer mode and see if it's actually loading the images from our CDN URL. Let's go and check that. So we have a new incognito window here, and let's go to our domain and then let's type in our domain. Let's check the developer options and let's choose the inspect icon and let's choose this image here. As we choose the image, if you look on the right, you'll notice it is actually loading the image from the CDN URL. So you could see the BunnyCDN URL is being loaded here, so we could then tell that it's actually pulling the static image from the CDN. And that's about it. So I know that was a long one, but we went through how to install our SSL certificate. We optimized our images, we installed a free, and we also looked at a premium security. We installed our backup and migrated it to a new website, and lastly we looked at caching and CDN. So again, if this video was useful, please smash that like button, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so when we add more videos like this you will be notified. So in our next video we're going to look at some advanced features which includes search engine optimization. We're going to look at Astra Pro as well as Elementor Pro. So see you in the next video.